Well, hello, Cabalists. I am back, and in keeping in the Halloween spirit, I am going to bring 5 games that I feel get the supernatural aspect right. Defenders of the Last Stand. Alright, well, we're going to kick this off with the theme that I know some people do not think is particularly supernatural, but along the lines of the film The Hills Have Eyes, this is Defenders of the Last Stand, and we're going to kick it off with mutants. This is a post-apocalyptic game along the same lines of Defenders of the Realm, in which the players in a co-op fashion are defending a central location from 4 different marauding factions led by their horrible, evil leader that are trying to take over the city. In this case, it's called Last Stand. The interesting thing about this game is that around the board there are radiation tokens because it's been a nuclear apocalypse. And what I think is fascinating about this and why I think it's one of the best games with mutants in is that you can actually, if you're in a location with radiation, gain a mutation card that gives you like tentacles or laser eyes or just all kinds of different things that may or may not be good. This game has a lot of tension, especially as the big bad mutants get closer and closer to Last Stand. But there is definitely a lot of player cooperation going on because every player has different strengths and different weaknesses, collects different sets of cards that you need to use to actually kill the big bads. And if you kill a big bad, that player will get a special ability based on killing that person. You're trying to maintain enough control of the board that no faction overwhelms you. It's a very, very tense game, a very, very good co-op that is difficult and provides a lot of player interaction. And it's got freaking mutations, so you can get laser eyes in this game as Defenders of the Last Stand. MYSTERIUM. Next up, Cabalists, we have a favorite theme of many, that is ghosts. The supernatural spirits that are roaming around angry from their deaths and cannot move on. In this game, MYSTERIUM plays that up perfectly. So if you don't know, in MYSTERIUM, one of the players is a ghost who is trying to send visions to these psychics, who in turn are trying to interpret these visions to figure out where the person was killed, who killed them, and how they were killed. This is very much like Dixit, a game that has cards with all this amazing artwork on it that is very abstract. And you as the ghost are trying to identify things in that artwork that when you give that to the psychic, they will focus in on different cards that they have available to them. Now, all the cards have all kinds of nuances to them. So a lot of times players will give a clue out or a couple clues, and that will lead to numerous different characters that are available or cards that are available to pick from. This can be very, very frustrating for a lot of people in a very good way. Many, many times the ghost is screaming in their head, why can't you figure this out? That person just talked you away from the card that I wanted you to pick. The players are sitting there saying the ghost is an idiot. I don't understand what he's thinking. I get that all the time. Fantastic game with beautiful, beautiful artwork. And I must say the expansions add so much because the base game comes with who killed, where they killed, and what weapon they killed with. But in the expansion, you now have motive cards, which are these crazy scenes. There might be a scene of a party. There might be a scene of a court. It just adds a lot more depth, a lot more cards, a lot more beautiful artwork for you to play with. Fantastic game, and I will say I've been playing this a lot on Steam. The Steam implementation is beautiful to the point where I kind of don't really mind playing it there instead of on the table. It is just an amazing, fun time with friends. MYSTERIUM, best ghost game I can think of. XCOM, the board game. Next up, Cabalists, we have Aliens. And there are so many people out there who are afraid of the little gray men who come in and steal you from your bedrooms. Well, this is not a game about that. This is about aliens coming to Earth and invading and taking over the planet. It is based on the computer game that is very popular, XCOM. And it is a game that's driven by a tablet. So every player has their own character and specialty that they're in charge of dealing with. One person's in charge of money. One person's in charge of the military. One person is in charge of the science. And then you have kind of a guy who's in charge of just overall maintaining the XCOM group. While you're playing, it's real time. The tablet itself, the app, will have a timer on it. And when the timer goes off, certain other people have to take their actions at that point. As you progress and as the aliens get more involved in the planet and start really affecting things, they can affect your communications, which can alter the course of when certain people take their actions, which can really, really mess things up. The timing aspect adds a lot of tension to this game. The aliens are all I mean, if you're familiar with the game, the video game, they're all, the typical ones. But if you're not, they're all real kind of freaky aliens that you're coming down and trying to fight. So much tension in this game. There's a lot of, I would say, fear of losing. There's so many things that can go wrong. You kind of need everything to go right, or else you get to a point in the game where the game's like, okay, you're going to lose. It just overwhelms you with everything, and you're out. This is a game that I've played. I think I played it probably about 10 times before I actually beat it. And we were so excited when we beat this game. It was such a rewarding feeling. I cannot stress how much this game really represents the concept of an alien invasion of Earth. Chaos in the Old World. Number 4 that I'm bringing to you today is about demons. Chaos in the Old World, based in the Warhammer fantasy realm. This game is a territory control map where the different evil factions of Warhammer are trying to take over the land. I am not too familiar with the Warhammer history, but what I will say is this game could not have the Warhammer label and I would still have a good time. Everybody is playing a different demon that has their minions going around and affecting the board state in different ways. Everybody is very asymmetric in how they attack other players and what their goal is. One of them, I remember his name. His name is Korn. He is heavy fighting, and people have to kind of keep him in check. Other ones are spreading disease around the map. If you play with more players, there are other factions you can bring into this game. The game itself is scary. The board is creepy as hell. It is, if I could pick a quintessential game that depicted demons attacking the planet, this is it. Even more so than any Lovecraft game that would be out there. This game, if you like territory control, asymmetric factions, this game is for you. Wonderful game. Chaos in the Old World. And do not be afraid if you're like me and do not like Warhammer. It doesn't matter. It is just a fantastic game. A Touch of Evil. All right, Cabalists. Well, last up, I have a game for you that I think touches all the bases when it comes to the supernatural. And this is A Touch of Evil. In this game, when you start, you pick a big bad to fight. Headless Horseman, Pirate Ghost, Mummy, all kinds of different things that you could pick from as the one you're fighting against. And they implement all kinds of different mechanisms into the game. There are a ton of expansions that add new monsters in, new mechanisms to the game itself, new maps to explore, new locations to get cards from. Just, it covers everything. In this game, you either against all the other players or cooperative with all the other players or in teams are trying to fight away this big bad. And you're moving around the board and going to different locations to get different items off this deck or trigger events, all the while working up to just defeating the big monster, which is incredibly difficult. The big monster is really hard in this game. And the whole time. You're dealing with whatever mechanisms he puts into the game as you're going around. Like you might be finding all the pirate coins, or you might be dealing with the Headless Horseman's attacks, like just all different kinds of mechanisms. It feels like a new game every time you play. Honestly, the production value in my mind is not the best, but from an experience standpoint, this is the quintessential Supernatural game. It is. I cannot recommend this game enough. I love it. And I enjoy playing it every single time. Well, there you go, Cabalists. I really, really hope that these are games that you either enjoy or you will go check out. They fit the Halloween theme. They cover the gamut of supernatural genres that you might run into. And honestly, it's not a top 5. It's just these things I think do their theme very, very well. Just 5 great games. Check them out.
Thanks so much, everybody. If you've enjoyed this video, please do us a giant favor by subscribing to the channel and clicking that wacky bell icon. If you're into board games, miniatures games, role-playing games, we have a bunch of audio podcasts you might enjoy. You can find those at thesecretcabal.com or on iTunes and Stitcher.